Hey, you. In the past, I've tried making top 20 favorite movies of all time lists. However, the order of the favorites always keep changing. But the favorites didn't. I randomly selected 11 of my favorite films. This isn't my top 11 favorites of all time, but just 11 movies that scored a 10 out of 10. Let's start in alphabetical order, starting with Braveheart.
That they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom!
Yeah, this movie has one hell of a line. Put simply, Braveheart is one of the most entertaining movies in existence. This movie is probably my favorite medieval movie in terms of realistic medieval movies. If you didn't know, Braveheart is an epic about the real life story of William Wallace, the Scotsman who tried to fight the English army. When I call Braveheart an epic, I don't use that term loosely. It is just so entertaining. It is so well put together. It has some of the greatest action scenes, some of the greatest war scenes, some of the greatest special effects. Just overall great filmmaking, direction, acting. The cinematography in Braveheart is some of the best I've ever seen. Braveheart looks amazing, especially when you watch the HD version. I highly recommend you buy the Blu-ray transfer. Overall, I give Braveheart 10 out of 10 stars. Next up, I will review The Dark Knight. This movie came out only 6 years ago, and it is right now, by far, my favorite superhero or comic book film. Batman has always been my hero since I was age 3, and I just thought this was the perfect way to represent him on screen. Heath Ledger as the Joker was probably one of the best casting choices for a motion picture in history. This film just brings up a new concept, fun popcorn movie with a lot of serious and dramatic elements that draws the line between hero and villain. This film is top-notch everything. Top-notch visual effects, top-notch cinematography, top-notch acting, top-notch directing, everything. Everything that makes a movie good is here. The Blu-ray transfer is impeccable. I love it. Again, The Dark Knight is a perfect 10 out of 10 stars. Next up is Fantasia from 1940. This is the best, my favorite, of all the Disney animated features. Not only that, it is one of my all-time favorite movies. Why? Because this movie is so fantastical. It just captures your imagination.
What a glorious
Have you ever sit down, listen to classical music, and imagine what was going on? Well, this movie captures it perfectly. This film just captures your imagination. This film is so imaginative, beautifully animated, and it also won Walt Disney an honorary Academy Award.
from the place.
This movie doesn't really have a story. In fact, it's several stories. There's not even a flowing narrative, except for the most famous scene in the movie, which is playing right now. This ensures that if you are bored in a part of the movie, just wait a little bit for the next segment and you will be thoroughly entertained. No matter who you are, you're going to find something to enjoy in this movie. Fantasia is an easy 10 out of 10 stars. The fourth film I will review is E.T. the Extraterrestrial. E.T. the Extraterrestrial is classic Spielberg. E.T. is just a magical film in every aspect. Yet the movie's also kind of heartfelt and heartbreaking. I cry every time I watch it. Never has there been a film that was so magical, yet so hard to watch at the same time. But the film doesn't have to be easy to watch. I mean, it has a lot of heartbreaking moments, and you need to watch it once in a year. Not only that, watch it once in your life. You need to. If I say you need to watch a movie once in your life, that means it has to be a 10. Go buy the film. I did. Go watch it with your family. E.T. gets a perfect 10 out of 10 stars. The fifth picture I shall review is Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. I honestly think this might be the most iconic motion picture in history, after The Wizard of Oz, of course. This movie is the quintessential popcorn fun action adventure. This is one of the few movies that is just universally acclaimed. You know, you can't really find somebody who doesn't like this movie. For the two of you who don't know the plot, it centers around Indiana Jones, an archaeologist who hunts for the mythical Lost Ark. Those who find it have god-like power. Indiana Jones must find it before the Nazis do. This movie has everything you could possibly want. It has adventure, villains, tanks, guns, fights. Just everything that makes a movie great is here. When I say the word Indiana Jones, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's just, he's that kind of character. Indiana Jones is probably one of my favorite heroes in a motion picture. He is listed as number 2 on the AFI's 100 Heroes list. If I gave this movie a rating anything under a 10, it wouldn't make any sense, because this movie really is a 10. Raiders of the Lost Ark is the definition of 10 out of 10 stars. We're halfway done. Next on the list is one of my favorite films of all time, Jaws. Again, Jaws is another one of those really iconic movies that everybody has to see. The shark in the movie isn't even until 30 minutes in, and yet, when it does come up, it's already iconic. When I saw Jaws in the theater, everybody in there was entertained, and were screaming at the thrills of the movie. Yes, this movie is very thrilling, one of the most thrilling I've seen. Have you ever been scared of going to the water because you're worried of sharks? It's this movie's fault. This is probably my second favorite Spielberg film after Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. And that says a lot if it's my second favorite Spielberg film, because Spielberg is one of my favorite directors. He really put effort into this film. There's effort in every shot of the movie. I applaud Spielberg for that. Speaking of effort, Jaws on Blu-ray is the best it has ever looked. Jaws is an easy 10 out of 10. The last Spielberg film tonight is Jurassic Park. This is another movie that just takes you to a place in your imagination that you never thought you could go to. Who as a kid did not love dinosaurs? I definitely love dinosaurs. I used to draw them. I used to have all these dinosaur stickers I'd put everywhere. This movie is enjoyable for kids and adults. It's one of those movies where you watch it once, and then after that, you just want to replay it. You just want to watch it over and over again. If you didn't know, Jurassic Park is the story of of scientists who find a way to bring back the dinosaurs, and then, like a B movie, everything goes, well, insane, mad. While this sounds like a B movie, let me tell you, this movie doesn't look cheap. It has some of the greatest CGI ever achieved. And it's one of the most enjoyable movies ever made. I highly recommend you see it. Again, 10 out of 10. The last film tonight is Lawrence of Arabia. Lawrence of Arabia is my favorite epic. It is also my favorite film of all time. Why? Because the scale of it, the fun, the writing, and this probably has the best screenplay ever written for a motion picture. Also, this movie is just there's so much effort into every shot, like Jaws. Like, for example, when there are so many scenes where the horses and the camels are going all across the desert. How did you take two? This is the greatest Best Picture winner in history. Yes, this movie won Best Picture along with 6 other Academy Awards, and it deserved each one of them.